What's up, everybody? It's Powtown Smeargle. Welcome back to another Showdown battle. It has been a long ass time since I've done a team builder and a battle. Today, we are joined by a guest. We're joined by Deevo24. Say hi, Devin.
Hello.
Hey, his channel link is going to be in the description down below. You guys should go follow him. It's going to be awesome. So, what we're going to be doing here is Devin posted an update not too long ago. And he was saying like, hey, maybe I should have Powtown Smeargle teach me how to play 6v6, Showdown, actual battles and stuff. Because, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like,
because I suck at it.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, you do. But, you just basically just kind of mess around with, like, random battles. You've never really had much experience building a team, etc., etc. Because I know that you had some interest in joining the league we started at our local shop a while back, but then we're kind of like, kind of suck at this, so not really gonna.
Then nobody taught me how to get a bike, so.
So yeah, he sold his game because he couldn't figure out how to get a bike. Pro tip: don't do that. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go through, and I thought this would be a good opportunity because as I'm teaching a friend of mine, at least what I know, and by no means. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands so much. There's no webcam, there's no face cam, because all that crap is packed up. But I'm talking with my hands and it's distracting myself. But what I was about to say is, I'm by no means an expert at this game in any way. I'm not like, you know, the next Shofu or PokeAim MD. I'm not even like as good as King Nappy or Shady Penguin or even like Nips or Twit. You know, those guys that they're good, but they're not like the best. And I'm not even close to their level. I just really enjoy this game and think I have a decent amount of knowledge at some of the basics. I don't know my speed tiers all that well. I don't know the metagame as well as I should. But I also have a life and a couple other hobbies, so I mean, meh. So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna go ahead and name this team the Deevo first draft.
The Deevo format.
The Deevo format. So what we're going to do here, for all of you watching, is we're going to build a team. And I'm going to walk Deevo through kind of my process, which, like I said, by no means is the only process you should use for building a team, but a process that I know works, at least for me. It's what I use when building teams in leagues or on Showdown or on Wi-Fi for general battles. So this is like my step-by-step process that I do. We're going to take that team for a test drive. Devin's going to make all the decisions. He's going to pick the moves, everything. I'm going to be clicking the buttons and stuff, but he's going to be in the driver's seat. Then secondly, we're going to do kind of a team revamp, if necessary. It might not be. For all we know, Deevo's got this hidden talent and just builds like god tier team, and we don't need to make any changes to it. But if we do, we're going to come back. We're only going to change one or two mons if necessary. I'm not going to change the whole team. But then I'm going to take over the driver's seat and explain to Deevo and to you guys my thought process as I'm going through. And like I said, caveat, I'm no expert. I know the comment section is probably going to rip me a new one about my play choices, but I'm not the best, and every play is not going to be perfect. But at least it's going to be enjoyable. So let's jump into this. Deevo, I kind of explained to you beforehand the tiers in Pokemon. We have for Deevo's a pretty talented TCG player. He's one of the people that taught me how to play TCG when I was first starting out. At least coming back into the game from not having played since like Fossil. So obviously things have changed. But the tier list in here, as you can see on your screen, there's all kinds of different tiers you can build for. There's OU, there's Ubers, UU, RU, NU, and PU, which is what we have to choose from. Keeping in
what's like the standard? Like, is there like a standard like that everybody uses, or?
OU is what most people on Showdown tend to play. It's the largest metagame. It has the largest pool of Pokemon because you can pull things from any lower tier. You can pull into a higher tier. You just can't go in the opposite direction. Make sense?
Okay.
So for those of you that are TCG fans that might be watching this, you know, Ubers is kind of like your tier 0. It's like your Night March or your like Shift Tree Donk before it was, you know, not a thing anymore. OU is like your tier 1 decks. Think like your Mega Rayquazas or your early Greninja builds that were really good, or your Dark Tina nowadays. And for all of you that might be watching this at a later date, this is speaking on like the post-Worlds 2016 format. So, yeah. RU's kind of like your tier 2. It's kind of like, starting to get a little rogue. RU is tier 3. It's kind of like your Mega Audino that won Worlds this year. Sometimes the Pokemon from RU can do really good things in the upper tiers. And then NU is kind of your bottom tier, and PU is like your bottom of the barrel. We're scraping at dregs here.
Gotcha.
So go ahead and pick from OU, UU, RU, NU, and PU. My expertise levels kind of hover in the OU to UU areas. I can.
Yeah, I was just gonna go with OU. It seems simple, or seems the most straightforward.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you would do that because that's where most of my experience lies. So we're going to go ahead and add our first Pokemon here. Now, what I do in building a team, and what I would encourage all of you at home, and Devo, you as well, to do, is to start with your Mega. This is your primary attacker, if you will. It should be kind of the focal point of your team. This is where I generally start, is either my Mega, or if my Mega is going to be defensive, my main attacker, my main strategy, what I want to kind of be my win condition for the team. So for the sake of argument, let's build around our Mega. I'm going to go ahead and just type in Mega. Actually, first I'm going to type in OU, and we're going to filter that. And we're going to type in Mega. Now, yeah, you can use, as it's going to come up with Meganium and Yon Mega and stuff, Pokemon from other tiers as your Mega. Mega Aerodactyl has seen some really good times in OU. Mega Beedrill was actually in OU for a while. But, Devo, you know the card game pretty well, so you know some of the, the Megas and things from there. I think Mega Pidgeot, Mega Lopunny, and Mega Pinsir, Mega Sableye are ones that haven't quite made it to the TCG yet.
I can't believe what a Mega Sableye would look like.
It'd be ridiculous in the TCG. It probably lets you pick up.
Put your entire discard pile in
your Yeah, exactly. And it would be like an ability or something like that.
Yeah.
So
am I making my own team while you're making a team? Or
no, you're making your own team. I'm building it on the screen here. So.
Oh, okay. So we're making the same team.
We're making the team together. Yeah.
Okay. So. It's probably not good at all, but dude, this Mega Charizard X is looking pretty baller.
Mega Charizard X is actually like one of the best Megas in OU.
Really?
Like in my opinion, it needs a good amount of support, but if you can do it right, it's a good mon. So let's go ahead and pick that. That's a good starting point. Yeah, he does look absolutely badass. Now, Megas will have an ability before evolving. They'll have one after evolving. You can see that on the screen here. After Mega Evolving, Charizard X's ability becomes Tough Claws. So any moves that make contact with the other Pokemon, so think like Fire Punch, Dragon Claw, Tackle, those things will get a multiplier of 1.3. So they'll do a third extra damage to your opponent's Pokemon on top of any other multipliers from like same type attack bonus, after now referred to as Stab. But they also have an ability before they Mega Evolve when they're in their basic form. For the sake of going through this quicker, I'm just going to click Blaze because you're not going to be needing Solar Power. So now we kind of come into the move selection portion with this Pokemon. And with the first Pokemon, with the other 5 on the team, I'm not going to spend as much time on it. We're just going to pick and click. So you want to, a tip is with, especially a main attacking Pokemon, you want to have at least 1, if not 2, forms of Stab, or same type attack bonus as I referred to earlier. These are moves that share a typing with your Pokemon. So Mega Charizard X here, it's moves that are Dragon type and moves that are Fire type, because they gain an additional bonus in their damage output before that. Some notable moves for Mega Charizard X here are Flare Blitz, Outrage, Dragon Claw, and other attacks that aren't stab are Earthquake. I've seen some run Crunch. I've seen some setup ones run Dragon Dance and Roost, to gain a lot of attack and speed and then heal off all the damage they might take. So Devin, what kind of sounds good to you? Do you want to kind of be like a base attacker or like a setup and kind of sweep through teams late game style?
I think the late game style, like kind of having Charizard come out as like a surprise and just kind of try to roll the rest of their team.
Yeah. It is important to know that your opponent can see your whole team before the battle starts. It's not like in TCG where they don't really know what you're packing. They'll at least see the 6 mons you bring, so they will know that there's a Charizard. They won't know if it's Mega X or Mega Y. But yeah, I think that setup one is probably going to be our best bet. So we're going to go with the Dragon Dance for setup, and you can either go with Roost, or you can go with a non-stab attack like Earthquake or something, just to be able to deal out more damage. It's really up to you at this point.
So we're looking at stab attack, you said?
Yeah, let's start with 1 to 2 stab attacks. 2 for Megazord X because a Dragon Stab is just going to be given because it's such a powerful attack.
Okay, so again, remind me, what defines as a stab attack?
Same type attack bonus. So, in the case of Mega Charizard here, it's a Dragon type attack or a Fire type attack. So it's a attack that shares one of the Pokemon's typing.
So like, would Power Up Punch be something?
Power Up Punch would be something, but we're already rocking Dragon Dance, so it would be a double setup. But if you want to rock that, we definitely can. If it gets Power Up Punch, does it? It does get Power Up Punch. So Power Up Punch is a unique attack. It's a fighting type move with a low base power that raises your attack stage by 1. We can certainly add that here. It's not a stab attack, but it's a good non-stab attack for certain mons, and maybe Charizard X can take advantage of it.
And so we want one more stab attack, right?
Actually, we don't have any, so we actually want 2. So we're going to want to pick a Dragon type attack.
Dragon. Okay, which one did we already have again? You said that we already had one?
We have Power Up Punch, and we have a setup move of Dragon Dance, but we don't have any Dragon type attacks. So we want to put a Dragon and a Fire type attack on this Charizard.
Would Roost be something?
Roost would be something. It would probably be something that I would swap Power Up Punch out for. But again, if you want to run Power Up Punch, Dragon Dance, and Roost, and just run 1 stab, it's something we can do.
Okay. So we need a Dragon type attack, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, either Dragon Pulse or Dragon Tail looks pretty good, I guess.
Let's go with Dragon Tail, because since we've got Power Up Punch and Dragon Dance, which raise our physical attack stat, you can see next to the move, Dragon Tail here, you've got Dragon, which tells you what kind of attack it is, and then you have the red kind of explosion symbol. That tells you that it's a physical attack, so it's based off our attack stat, not our special attack stat. Whereas Dragon Pulse, with its little like hypnotic eye, would rely on our special attack stat. So let's go ahead and pick a Fire type attack to round out the 4 moves on this super offensive Charizard X.
Flamethrower looks pretty meaty.
Flamethrower is pretty meaty, but again, it is a special type attack, so it is something we can use to catch our opponent off guard, but it is an attack that isn't going to benefit from Dragon Dance or Power Up Punch.
Okay.
Some good physical Fire type attacks would be Flare Blitz, Fire Punch, or Flame Charge. If you want to go flamethrower, we can definitely go flamethrower.
I'm looking through them real quick.
While Devin's looking at his moves, one quick thing for the viewers at home: if you are playing on Showdown, in any of this little search bars that let you enter certain things, you can type in the type you're searching for, and you can add it as a filter, as you can see right here on the screen, where it's highlighted, which will just allow you to only pick moves that are fire type. And you can see here it says moves that are illegal, which means they're moves Charizard can't actually learn. It'd be great if Charizard could learn Decreate or Sacred Fire, but as of now it can't. So.
Would Flame Burst be one?
Let's see here. Flame Burst damages Pokemon next to it as well. That's good for double battles. It's another special type attack. If we're gonna go with a special type attack, Flamethrower is probably the better move.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Isn't Fire Fang good since it has the chance to flinch?
Yeah, Fire Fang would be pretty good. We can go ahead and go with Fire Fang. 10% chance to burn, 10% chance to flinch. It benefits from that tough clause. Now we're into kind of the more technical area here, which is kind of where I'm going to take the steering wheel back from Devo, and just kind of explain real quick what we're doing. Now you can see that we're going to be doing some stat distributions here. And Showdown is always nice enough to add this suggested spread here for you players, and for us as well. And generally, what I do is I start from there when I'm building a team. Just click on the suggested one, and maybe after some testing, fiddle around with the stat distributions. But for general knowledge, each Pokemon for a competitive battle is probably going to have 30 to 31 over here in the IV section. Those are its genetically based stats. Those are things in Wi-Fi battles that you're going to have to breed for, or hack in should you be so inclined as to use a device. Then you have your EVs, which are kind of like strength and conditioning points. If you run 6 miles a day, chances are you're going to be faster or have more endurance, and so that's kind of what this is. And that's what the super training function is on most of the new 3DS games. Each Pokemon can have a max of 255, but I think when you're super training, it does stop you at 252. 252 is where it stops giving you stat points. So that's kind of the max. And so you'll have 4 to 6 left over, and every 4 points will allot you a stat increase of 1 point. So you can see over here with Special Defense, with 0 invested, it's 206. With 4 invested, it bumps up to 207. And then you have your nature, which in the video games it'll show you like a blue and red number that tells you what's getting increased and what's getting decreased. The suggested spread was for an adamant nature, which increases our attack stat by a certain percentage, which you can see here is roughly about 40 points, and lowers our special attack. Since we're not using any special attacking moves, it's quite alright. So let's bump into our next Mon. Now, some good supporting Mons for Mega Charizard X are going to be able to handle its checks and counters. So things like Azumarill, which is a hard check to Mega Charizard, being that it's fairy water. Something like a Tyranitar, which can absolutely shut us down. So you might want an electric type or a Pokemon with a strong Earthquake to be able to handle those checks. Or you want to build a defensive core that can kind of handle certain things. So either you want to build an offensive core or a defensive core. So Devin, what kind of sounds like what you want to do here?
I guess we're gonna go with the offensive. I mean, why not?
Alright, we'll go the offensive route. I'll make a couple suggestions to you, but as always, you are free to choose whichever you like.
Okay. One question.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the moves on Mega Charizard,
yeah,
it says that we can have 4. Are we not having 4? Or are we just sticking with those 3?
We have 4. We have Dragon Dance, Power Up Punch, Dragon Tail, and Fire Fang.
Oh, okay. Read those off again.
Dragon Dance, Power Up Punch, Dragon.
Oh, that was one. I forgot to put in Dragon Dance.
Yep. I think the best. I think if I was to pick them on just solely through scrolling through here, I'd probably pick either Landorus Therian form to handle those Tyrannotars, or those pesky rock type attackers that are going to want to do some serious damage to us, or a where'd it go? Or a Rotom Wash or a Raikou to handle some of the water type attackers that will try to threaten us. Important thing to note about Rotom Wash and Landorus Therian is they actually also can kind of check that ground weakness that we inherit from Mega Evolving, because we lose our immunity, we lose our flying type. Rotom Wash having the Levitate ability grants it an immunity to ground type attacks, and Landorus Therian being a flying type itself is inherently immune to ground type attacks.
I think we gotta throw a Rotom in there.
Alright, we'll throw Rotom on there. Rotom Wash is kind of known for its bulk, but it can definitely deal out some serious damage if given the right item. I tend to prefer Choice Specs if I'm going to go for the offensive Rotom, which you can see on the screen here that's highlighted. Probably has my mouse next to it. The Pokemon who's holding this item attack gets multiplied by 1.5, its special attack does, but you can only use the first move that you execute. So let's say we use Hydro Pump. We can only use Hydro Pump until we run out of PP on that and have to use Struggle or Switch. So generally Choice Mons are good, like hit and run Mons that do a ginormous chunk of damage and then or outspeed everything and then get out. Or we could put leftovers on it to kind of make that bulk like really there. We could put on an Assault Vest to make our special defense a lot higher, but we can only, select damaging moves, which kind of limits some of Rotom's utility. Or we can even put a Life Orb on there, which does a little bit less damage increase than the Choice Specs, but acts like everything has a 1/10 recoil. So we do sacrifice a little bit of our HP each time we attack, but we have the freedom to choose instead of being stuck with one move each time we come in.
I have no idea what a lot of items do.
So, hold items, for those of you that play the TCG that might just be, just tuning in to kind of learn a little bit, hold items are kind of like your Pokemon tools. Each Pokemon can only have one. In the case of Mega Charizard, it's got to have the Charizardite X, which kind of works like your Spirit Link. It allows the Mega Evolution to happen. And certain items do certain things. So you can see a list of them on the screen here. Each of them has its own particular usage. For the case of a Rotom that we want to be an attacker, going with Choice Specs or Life Orb is probably the best bet. Choice Specs gives us more damage output, but every time we come in, we are only allowed to pick one of our 4 moves to use. We can't change up each turn like you normally could on another Pokemon. Or we can do Life Orb, which also increases our attack damage by slightly less than the Choice Specs, but at the cost of 1/10 of our maximum HP every time we make a move. So in exchange for doing out 30% more damage, we lose 10% of our health.
Yeah, let's go with the Life Orb.
Okay, I like that Life Orb because that allows us to kind of switch up what we're doing. Now again, with Rotom being an attacker with Life Orb, we're going to want to pick 2 stab attacks. So let's start with a special type, no, that's the one with the little eyeball looking thing next to it, electric type move. So I'm just going to type in electric here in the search bar and filter out our moves to be the electric type attacks.
Would Discharge be good?
Discharge can be pretty good. Having that 30% chance to paralyze an adjacent Pokemon is pretty big. So Discharge can be pretty good. So why don't we go ahead and click Discharge. And then let's go ahead and select a water type move for Rotom as well. Now, Rotom Wash only gets access to 2 water type attacking moves: Hidden Power Water or Hydro Pump.
I think Hydro Pump pretty good.
Hydro Pump is fantastic. We'll go ahead and go with Hydro Pump. Now, we can go with 2 more attacking moves, or we can kind of play around a little bit with our moveset. Some other notable moves from Rotom Wash that aren't directly attacking moves but can have a big impact on the game are things like Will-O-Wisp, Substitute, Thunder Wave, Toxic, or Volt Switch. Volt Switch is an attacking move, and it's fine to have more than one stab move on a Pokemon as long as they serve a different purpose. You know, you really wouldn't want to have Discharge and Thunderbolt on the same Pokemon. They kind of serve the same thing. They're roughly an 80 to 90 base power move with a chance to paralyze. Volt Switch is nice because it allows you to get what's called Switch Priority. It will switch your Pokemon out while still attacking. So it's kind of like being able to attack and retreat with the same mod. Think of like Hit and Run Seviper or like Mega Gengar EX that like attacks and switches.
Okay. So is Toxic or Will-O-Wisp something good to have?
Yeah, I would say it's good to have 1 to 2 mons on a team that know at least one statusing move. That's something that can poison, paralyze, or burn. All of them do different things. Paralyze will cut your opponent's speed in half, and also have a 30% chance, I think it is, that they don't actually get to attack that turn. Toxic will do what's called badly poison, which means they take a certain percentage, and then the next turn that percentage doubles. And it keeps increasing exponentially throughout the course of the game as long as that Pokemon's in. Anytime they switch in or out, it resets the counter on that. So it'd be kind of like the new Croagunk's poisoning ability in a TCG. And then Will-O-Wisp burns the target, does a certain amount of damage. I think it's 1/16 of their health every turn, but it cuts their physical attack stat in half.
So what's better, poisoning somebody or burning them?
It depends. I think Rotom Wash having access to Will-O-Wisp is really nice because it can burn some of those physical threats, things that want to use Earthquake or Stone Edge to kill our Charizard. I would say that's the best option.
Let's go with that.
I mean, we certainly have 2 moves open, so it is something that we could go with either. And go with a Life Orb, double status Rotom, which is something that would catch a lot of people off guard. In my opinion, it's not the best, but it could certainly work.
I think we're just throwing the Will-O-Wisp, right?
Yeah, so we still have 1 open move slot.
Oh, okay. What's something you would suggest for the last slot?
Probably Volt Switch. Having some of that Switch initiative can be nice.
Let's go ahead and do that then.
Okay. Now again, here comes Showdown with its nice little suggested spread, which is something we're going to pick here. The Speedy Special Attacking set, which is probably going to be really nice to take advantage of those moves that we use. Now we're on to picking our 3rd Pokemon. This is where things are going to pick up a little bit unless I need to just kind of, butt in and suggest something. So Devin, why don't you go ahead, pick another Pokemon for us.
Oh geez, what a big responsibility. So are we looking for more support Pokemon or just Pokemon?
You're probably going to want something that can learn Defog or Rapid Spin to help Charizard out a little bit. So we might be looking at something that kind of plays a little bit of both roles. Something that can be offensive, but it carries some support with it. Some good Rapid Spinners are things like Excadrill, Donphan from the UU tier is one of my personal favorites. Trying to think of other good Rapid Spinners. Why don't I just type Rapid Spin in here and it'll bring up all the Rapid Spin Pokemon that we have access to. Hitmontop is another notable one that I'd forgotten about. Claydol is one from a lower tier, which can be good. And that's kind of it for the notable ones, but the viewers at home can kind of see all the rapid spin options we have available to us here. My suggestion would either be to go with Hitmontop or Dawnfan or Excadrill. One of those three really couldn't steer you wrong. They all do different things, but they all do good things.
Let's go ahead and throw in the Hitmontop.
Okay. Hitmontop. Now, Hitmontop is from the RU tier. It's from the 3rd tier down, but it can still certainly have a place on OU teams. Now, this is a Pokemon where I'm going to need to butt in and say, let's pick our moveset before we pick an item. Because there are a lot of things you can do with the Hitmontop. It has 2 really viable abilities. Its hidden ability is not really that viable. It has Intimidate, which every time it switches in, it lowers the enemy Pokemon's attack stage by 1, or Technician. So any moves that have a base power of 60 or less will get increased by half power. So that will kind of dictate what kind of set. Our ability is going to dictate what kind of moves we're going to use on Hitmontop, and then those moves in turn will dictate what item we put on it. So this Pokemon kind of goes backwards from the way we've done things before.
So did you say that it needed to have Rapid Spin?
Yep. That's one of the moves that it's going to have on it regardless, which is a move that benefits from Technician, but it's not necessary to have Technician on this to run Rapid Spin. It can work on both sets of Hitmontop.
So are we putting Rapid Spin on one of the moves then? Or?
Yep, one of our move spots is going to be taken up by Rapid Spin. I've gone ahead and done that anyways. It's just kind of up to you if you want this Hitmontop to, again, cut more physical attackers' stats down and really check some of those threats, or if we want to dish out a little more damage with Technician.
Didn't you say Pursuit is good?
Pursuit is pretty good, and it is an ability. Yeah, so I think with Rapid Spin and Pursuit here, we're probably going to end up with Technician.
Okay.
Another notable move that really works with Technician extremely well is Fake Out. Because as long as you use that move before you use any other moves, it will flinch your opponent's Pokemon. You can only use it once per time you're in, but it'll do a lot of damage with Technician.
Alright, so right now they have Rapid Spin, Pursuit, and Fake Out.
Yep. So we have one more spot, and generally you do want to run at least one stab move on any one of your Pokemon. You don't want to leave them without a stab move. So some stab moves.
Could you hit him with a Sucker Punch?
Sucker Punch would be decent, but it's not a stab move. I think Mach Punch might be great because it ignores speed checks, allowing us to go first regardless, unless another Pokemon uses a priority move that's faster than us or has higher priority. So it's kind of like a fighting type quick attack.
Okay, where is Mach Punch? Oh, there it is.
And it benefits from Technician, and it allows us to not really have to put a lot of investment into our speed. We can put that investment into our health and our defenses, which is what Showdown is saying to do, which I think is kind of nice because it gives us kind of a chunkier attacker with Hitmontop.
Alright, so
we just have an item. We have an item to put on it, and the 2 items that I would say to pick, actually 3. Choice Band. So again, that choice means you get to choose one move every time you switch in, and you're stuck with it. Leftovers to keep our health going, or Life Orb again, just like the Rotom. There's no restrictions on having. You could have 6 Pokemon with leftovers on them if you want. Not advisable, but having more than one Pokemon with the same item is not illegal in 6v6.
So are we going with Choice Band? I guess we can go Choice Band.
We can go Choice Band if you want. I like that.
I mean, yeah, I guess, sure.
Okay, we have 3 more Pokemon here to choose from. I think we might want a Grass type on this team to be able to complete that kind of offensive Fire, Water, Grass core, which is usually a defensive core, but sometimes offensive ones can work out as well. let's
Superior.
see grass.
Is Superior decent?
Superior is very good. I was going to actually suggest either Superior or Breloom for an offensive grass type, or something like a Ferrothorn for a defensive grass type. Just because kind of like an out there other choice.
I think Superior is looking pretty baller, so let's go with him.
Superior is pretty good. Now, there's a couple of things if you're going to use a Superior in OU that's kind of a given. Your ability is going to be contrary. That means anytime you have a stat increase or decrease, it does the opposite. So that allows Superior to use some moves you otherwise normally wouldn't use. And a Superior, more times than not, is holding leftovers to keep its health nice and high, a life orb, or a choice specs to increase the damage. I think in this case, since we've already picked a choice attacker, I don't like having more than 2 choice Pokemon on a team, and most teams need to have a choice Scarf Pokemon to increase their speed. So I think the leftovers or the life orb is going to be the way to go here.
Let's run with the life orb.
Okay, more damage. All right. With contrary, and again, there is always one move you're going to want on a Superior, and that's Leaf Storm. Normally what Leaf Storm would do is actually drop your special attack by 2, but because we have contrary, it will actually double our special attack stat every time we use the move.
So we definitely want to have Leaf Storm.
Yep. Other common moves on here are Glare, which will paralyze our opponent's Pokemon, ensuring that we outspeed. Giga Drain, and Hidden Power Fighting, or Hidden Power Rock, or Hidden Power Fire. You could also put Dragon Pulse on there, or let's see, something like a Leech Seed or a Protect. You want to kind of scout a little bit.
Let's hit him with the Glare.
Let's use that Glare. Alright, we'll pick Glare, and we still have 2 more move slots.
Would Leaf Blade be decent?
Leaf Blade could be decent, but it doesn't benefit from the Leaf Storm boosts. Again, that's the difference between a special and a physical attack.
Oh, okay.
Giga Drain might be nice because we're going to be taking damage from our old Life Orb to keep our health nice and high.
Alright, let's do that, Giga Drain.
And we have one more move. Really, anything that's a special attack is really going to be nice here, whether it's a hidden power of a certain type or a Dragon Pulse or, something like that.
Hit him with the Dragon Pulse.
Alright, Dragon Pulse can be pretty good. And again, we're just going to go with the suggested... this is like the always Superior runs max, speed max, special attack. So with 2 more Pokemon left, we can keep up our theme of offenses, or we can add a little bit of a couple of defensive walls.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think we need a couple of defensive just in case.
Okay, so some interesting defensive mons. Gliscor is definitely a good one, based on what we have on the team. Its Poison Hail ability is fantastic because it will allow us to hold the item called Toxic Orb, which will toxic poison us, and instead of damaging us every turn, it'll actually heal us. I think it's around 1/3 of our health back every turn. And then it also means we can't be statused. If we want to go the route of a ground type to keep our, electric immunity nice, which we don't really seem to need right now, but it's always nice, we could actually run defensive Landorus Therian or Hippowdon. So I would say one of those 3.
I think we gotta hit him with the Landorus.
Landorus is pretty good. Now, if we're going to run a defensive Pokemon, Leftovers is usually the item of choice. Because you're going defensive, so you want to keep your attack or your health high. Landorus has a naturally high attack stat, so we don't need to really invest anything in there. With Intimidate, it's actually a really good physical wall. So one of the things for a defensive Landorus is you're probably going to want Stealth Rocks. This is a move that doesn't do any damage initially, but every time your opponent switches, they're going to take 1/16 of their health, and it's also affected by weakness and resistance. So if a fire type or a flying type switches in, they take 1/4 of their health. And if a fire and flying type switches in, they take 50% of their health just from coming into the battle.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So what did we choose for the item?
Leftovers.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the first move was
Stealth Rock.
Stealth Rock.
Now, we can run some pretty good physical moves. You know, Earthquake is obviously probably Landorus Therian's best move. Other notable...
Sludge Bomb, what would that be?
Sludge Bomb is a special type attack. It's definitely something we could run because we're not really going to be investing a lot into our physical attack. We're not going to be investing anything into our physical attack stats-wise. We're going to go, you know, max HP and max defense. So Sludge Bomb is something we can throw on there. I think we probably want to have either Knockoff or Earthquake, if not both of them. That's what I would do, but again, that's something I can change later if, you know, you want to run something different. So if you want to run like...
well, let's definitely run Earthquake, that's good.
Alright, let me find the Earthquake. If you want to run the special, a special attacking Landorus, that'll definitely catch some people off guard. We can actually run Earth Power instead of Earthquake.
Right now I have Stealth Rock, Earthquake, and Knockoff. And
okay.
I was thinking about throwing in a Sludge Bomb.
Okay, we'll run that Sludge Bomb then. And we'll go ahead and take the 252 off of the attack. We'll go to 252 and a positive defensive nature. We'll make it a negative special defensive nature because we're not really taking any special attacks as it is. And throw the 4 extra into our special attack just so Sludge Bomb does a little bit more damage. We'll go ahead and pick our last Mon. We probably want something that's a little bit more specially defensive, and we have yet to pick a fairy type. So
I was just gonna say,
and fairy's like one of the best types in the game right now.
Is Clefable any good?
Clefable is fantastic, and it can actually serve the purpose of starting out as a physical wall and building up its special defenses as we go along in the game.
Alright, let's throw Clefable in there.
Alright, we're going to go with Leftovers, and we're going to go with the only ability that really matters, which is Magic Guard, which means that anything that is not an attack can't damage us. So Leech Seed isn't doing any damage to us, Toxic Poison isn't doing any damage to us, Entry Hazards aren't doing any damage to us. And with the way Clefable is built, there are 2 moves that are kind of mandatory for Clefable. One of them is Calm Mind. That increases our special attack and our special defense stats by 1 stage every time we use it. So that can help us transition from a purely physically defensive Pokemon to being doubly defensive, plus being able to pack a bit of a punch. And then Soft Boil, which is a move that heals 50% of our HP whenever we click it. So we really have 2 open move slots here, and those 2 move slots are open for whatever you wish to pick.
I'm trying to find the Soft Boil real quick.
There's a hyphen in the middle of it.
I'll just look it up. There we go. Would Body Slam be any good?
Body Slam could be pretty good, but again, it doesn't benefit from the special attack boost we're going to be getting from Calm Mind.
Okay. Drain Punch?
Again, Drain Punch is a physical move, but it's something we can definitely do.
Dazzling Gleam seems intimidating.
Dazzling Gleam is pretty good. That's a good special fairy type attack, so we can go ahead and throw that on there. Now we have 1 move slot left. You know, you can kind of do whatever you want with this one. You can throw on like a Fire Blast if you want, or a Grass Knot. Things like Hyper Voice or Ice Beam can be decent. You can even put on things like Heal Bell or Aromatherapy. to keep our team healthy and remove any status conditions from anywhere on our team.
Which one's that?
Aromatherapy or Heal Bell. Both of them do the same exact thing.
Let's go with aromatherapy.
Alright, we'll go with aromatherapy and the suggested move spread, or stat spread. So, that's our team. We got a Mega Charizard, a Rotom Wash, Hitmontop, Superior, Landorus Therian, and a Clefable. So we're going to make a quick cut real quick, and you'll see us in the battle, so we'll be right back. Okay. So, we're here with the battle. I'm not on the right side. We're going to switch over to Devo's side here. Our opponent leads with a Beedrill, as Devo's going to go ahead and lead with our Rotom Wash. And I can't actually see the moves.
Discharge, Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp. I think I'm going to hit him with the Will-O-Wisp, right?
Will-O-Wisp would be perfect against this Beedrill. I'll just try to remember what we put on him. He's going to Protect. That's pretty standard for what a Beedrill is going to do. But now that we've threatened him with a Will-O-Wisp, he's probably going to switch to that Entei. This is what's called making a prediction. Well, fire types can't be burned. Entei is physical, so I'm going to swap to my Entei. So it might be smart for us to hit him with a Hydro Pump. He is going to U-turn, which is fine. That does a lot cleaner hit than we would like, but out comes his Entei, and if we hit him with his Hydro Pump, which we do, that Entei is vaporized.
Bang, bang.
Which does reveal that we are going to be slower than this Beedrill. So it might be good right now to switch into our...
Volt Switch.
I would hard switch, so don't click the Volt Switch because he's faster than us.
Okay, so
I would go into the Landorus because that'll cut his attack stat. And the U-turn won't do as much damage to us.
Okay.
Compared to what it did to our Rotom. So now we'll have to wait and kind of see what he's going to switch into. He goes into his own Landorus, which is totally fine. Right now is a really good opportunity for us to set up our Stealth Rocks. Because they're going to threaten that Beedrill from ever coming back in. He's going to U-turn probably out to his Starmie, which is fine. Yep. This is a good opportunity for us to immediately... actually, because he could Ice Beam, we don't want to go into Superior. This is probably a good chance for us to go into our Clefable and just show him we're not scared. If in comes a Rapid Spin, that's fine. We eat that up for breakfast. He gets rid of the rocks, which is okay. And you might want to just start setting up Calm Minds all over this pool.
Calm Mind.
Whoop. I would say instead of going... I would say go for another one if you like. If he switches that to Beedrill, we'll just get out of here. In comes the Beedrill. Right now, we can just switch right back into that Landorus because it threatens him out. It just basically says Beedrill can do some chip damage to this Landorus, but it's not going to do a whole lot. That Poison does kind of suck. I would say right here, we could go for Knockoff because he's probably going to U-turn out into that Starmie again, thinking we're going to go for rocks, because that's what we did last time. So we're kind of conditioning him. And I was like, that should be a dead Starmie, but it almost is. Now, the question is, do we want to save this Landorus, or do we want to let it go down to a Scald or an Ice Beam?
I don't know.
Both have their merits. Saving it for that Beedrill can be nice. But at this point, I think we kind of have to let it go down.
Hit it with a knockoff?
Yeah, go ahead and hit it with that knockoff in case he... Yep, he does recover, which is fine. Knockoff should do a good chunk. He's probably going to try to recover stall us out. So going for something like an Earthquake here might not be bad. He does fire off the Skull to knock us out, which is alright. We can go out to our Superior here because we should be faster. I think we should be. Let's see, 357, 361. So we've seen all his moves, which means he doesn't carry Ice Beam for us. So we're free to kind of go for a Glare because he'll probably switch out. And we can paralyze that Beedrill. In comes the Psyshock. Glare's going to make us faster anyways. So we can go ahead and just click Leaf Storm. and knock this thing out and get a free +2 boost. Out to the Beedrill. Leaf Storm is gonna do a decent chunk. Why is the special attack? Oh, you didn't click contrary for your ability.
Oops.
That's okay. Why don't you go ahead and switch out into the Charizard here? Because now's a good time for that. Let's see what he U-turns into. That might be a deciding factor in this match, but it's something that I'll make sure is updated on our team. Now this Starmie's probably going to go for a Scald, so you can go ahead and Mega Evolve, and he has nothing that really wants to take a Dragon Claw. So you can just load that up on him.
Dragon Claw?
Yeah.
I don't have Dragon Claw.
What do we have? We have Power Up Punch and what?
Dragon Tail, Fire Fang.
Oh, let's go ahead and Mega Evolve. I thought it was Dragon Claw. Let's go with that Dragon Tail. The dragon-ish move. Bop. Down goes the Starmie. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Landorus or the Beedrill come out here. Out to the Beedrill. Let's see, that U-turn did 20%. Poison Jab is probably going to knock us out. We can go ahead and go for Fire Fang. Yep, down goes the Charizard to the Beedrill. This match is pretty much in our opponent's hands right now, but if we go out to the Hitmontop, we might be able to do something. Always go for Fake Out if you've got the opportunity. He goes for Protect, scouting out the Fake Out, which is, you know, good for him. But now we could probably just go for Mach Punch if we so choose.
I can't. I can only Fake Out.
Oh, now we have to switch. So go ahead and switch into the Rotom. We'll let that thing drop. I forgot we were choice. U-turn, he'll take out our Rotom, but that'll force him out into something, meaning we can go out into our Superior here. And just go for Glare. It's the safest move we have. Paralyzes Landorus, we might get lucky, which we do. Go for the Giga Drain on this thing. Which, I mean, not being able to go for Leaf Storm because it doesn't do what we thought, is going to probably lose us this match here. Because in comes the Beedrill, which just handles the rest of our team. So why don't we go ahead and click that forfeit button.
Great. Where's the forfeit button?
It's the big X above the battle. So
Alright.
we're going to go ahead and forfeit that match. I'm going to make some changes to the team, and we'll be right back. So we'll be back up with the newly changed team here in just a second. We're back with the newly changed team. We're going to start things off with the Mega Charizard X here. We kept the Dragon Dance. We switched Power Up. I switched Power Up Punch to Earthquake just to increase our damage output and be able to handle those rock type attackers that want to manhandle Charizard. Things like Tyranitar, which is really common in OU. Swap Dragon Tail out for Dragon Claw just for the accuracy boost. And then switching, I almost said swipping. I meant to say switch and swap at the same time. Switching the Fire Fang for Flare Blitz just for the overall damage output, and not Charizard not really minding taking that recoil damage because it's just going to be taking lives. Change the Rotom up a little bit to my preferred style of Rotom, which is especially defensive Rotom. I personally don't prefer the physical, or not the physical, but the aggressive Rotom. So we've got Thunderbolt, Hydro Pump, Will-O-Wisp, Volt Switch. We're holding the leftovers item with max HP, 4 in special attack, max special defense with a positive special defense, and negative attack nature. That'll be the calm nature. Moving over to the Hitmontop, simply just changing the item from Choice Band to Life Orb to allow us to change up our moves, so we don't get stuck in like we did in the last game with Fake Out. Which also allowed us really to kind of change to a speedier Hitmontop, putting some EVs into speed, maxing out that speed stat. make sure you can outspeed those walls that we're trying to flinch out. Superior, the only thing we changed was making sure the ability was contrary. Otherwise, everything else on here seems fine. You guys at home might want to change that Dragon Pulse to a hidden power of whatever, type you feel your team might want to have. It might actually benefit us as I'm thinking about it right now. I'm actually going to go hidden power poison because we really don't have anything to hit fairy types with, which isn't something commonly run on Superior, but might catch our opponents off guard. Going to the Landorus, changed it from a physically defensive Landorus to a Choice Scarf speedy variant, swapping out Sludge Bomb for Explosion, and swapping out Stealth Rocks for Stone Edge to give us a rock type attack. Choice Scarf Explosion can definitely catch our opponents off guard, especially if we have low health and we're bringing them in to sacrifice it anyways. We might as well blow up in their face.
So what are we changing the first attack that we had to?
From Stealth Rocks to Stone Edge is the change there, and then changing the Sludge Bomb to Explosion. And then moving to the Clefable, keeping everything the same except for changing Heal Valve to Stealth Rock to make sure we still have those entry hazards on our team, because our team does kind of lose to Talonflame, which will lose 49 to 50% on switch-in if we have rocks up. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our second battle. If you guys want to hold on real quick, we'll be right back. Alright, we're here against this Zoroark, Suicune, Dragonite, Scizor, Thundurus, and Venusaur team. Notable things that I like to pick out is what's probably hit this person's Mega. I'd say it's either that Scizor or that Venusaur, seeing as how they're the only two things that can Mega Evolve on the team. Probably one of those two. Knowing that, I'm actually going to lead with Hitmontop, because if they want to do any Zoroark shenanigans, since Zoroark never actually is a Zoroark the first time it switches in, it always takes the form of whatever the 6th Pokemon in your team is. Leading with Hitmontop might just force it out and might give us a clue of what he's leading with. It can also do some damage to that Dragonite to take care of its multi-scale ability, which is another thing that kind of checks this team. Seeing this Dragonite come in just begs me to go for Fake Out. So that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to Fake Out this Dragonite. I'm also going to hit up my opponent with the timer, just to kind of simulate that timer being on in a Wi-Fi battle. Not, certainly something you don't have to do at home, but we are under a bit of a time crunch here, so I'm going to turn that timer on anyways. Fake Out is going to do a good chunk to this Dragonite. It's going to flinch it, and it shows us that it actually is the Dragonite, meaning that if we switch out to Clefable right here, this Dragonite can't do diddly squat to us. One thing you could do with Clefable is you could actually swap out the Dazzling Gleam for Moonblast, whatever you like to do. They're both pretty viable. I'm going to go ahead and put these Stealth Rocks up, just because that Dragonite right there, it can go ahead and do that Earthquake to us again, and we can just kind of soft-boiled and keep ourselves in this game, recovering way more HP than he can take down every turn. He goes ahead and sets up another D-Dance. We go for a Dazzling Gleam. He might hit us with another Earthquake, but going for a Dazzling Gleam here, crit didn't matter. Dazzling Gleam is going to do a huge chunk, and knowing that an Earthquake is probably imminent, I'm going to go out to our Rotom Wash here to be able to kind of eat up that Earthquake, since we do have Levitate. Use our predicting skills wisely. And I'm actually going to double switch here into our Landorus to be able to get an Intimidate and drop one of these attack stats down. In comes the Outrage, which is going to take our Landorus down, which is totally fine. Landorus didn't really have much to do up for our team, which gives us a free switch into this Clefable, because his Outrage is going to hit us and do nothing, because we're immune to Dragon-type attacks, meaning we can get back all of this health that he took away from us before. And now we can actually go for another Dazzling Gleam for the KO, because there's no way an Earthquake from this Dragonite is going to take us out. So we just took out this setup Dragonite, which was probably our opponent's win condition here. I was going to say, hopefully we don't see a forfeit from them. But them going into this Scizor here means we pretty much have free reign to go into our Rotom and Will-O-Wisp on the rest of his team. He defogs away our rocks and drops our evasion, which really isn't that big of a deal because we're going to get a free Will-O-Wisp off on anything on his team. Really hoping to hit this Scizor with it. Chip damage on that Suicune can be nice. In comes the Thundurus with Prankster, which can prove to be pardon Devin's dog in the background. In comes the Nasty Plot, which is fine. We're going to fire off a Volt Switch here, and we're actually going to Volt Switch right into our Hitmontop because we carry priority. Burn is going to chip away at this thing. Fake Out's going to do a good amount of damage, and we can kind of just chip damage this the Myth out of existence with Fake Out and Burn damage. So this is an example of how an RU Pokemon can do well in a UU team if played correctly. And in comes this Scizor here, which again is begging us to go out to Rotom because there's not much he can do to us. You see that here, we have barely any physical defense stats, and because of the resistance, that Bullet Punch does next to nothing. In comes the Will-O-Wisp to burn the Scizor, cuts its physical attack stat down. And now that his attack and defense are even lower, he's probably going to switch out, meaning we're free to Volt Switch. Right into the Legend here, which is exactly what we wanted to come in, so that we can get out to our Charizard. This thing is probably going to be his Mega Evolution, seeing as how the Scizor was not his Mega. So we're going to see we are faster. We're going to Mega Evolve and Dragon Dance, bumping up our speed and attack stat. He's going to hit us with a Sludge Bomb, which does kind of stink, but we're going to go for the Dragon Claw, take a huge chunk out. As he takes out our Charizard, which is fine. We would have liked to keep this thing around for that Scizor, but, you know, c'est la vie. Hovering over his Venusaur here, we can see it has 148 speed, which means we're safe to go into our Rotom. And just Volt Switch, which means we're getting... oh, I thought we'd get the KO. Oh, that could be a bit of a problem. We got a definite roll on that. In comes the Synthesis from the Venusaur. I'm going to go ahead and go for another Fake Out. Chip damage is chip damage. We flinch this thing, and switching into our Superior here, barring another Sludge Bomb, would be great. Giga Drain doesn't do a whole lot to us, which is fantastic. Right now, we can go for a Glare and get a Paralysis on this thing, which is probably going to be our only way of beating it, seeing as how we didn't bring a Flying type or Psychic type move on our team. Now, having this thing paralyzed means we're pretty much... and seeing how he's got Hidden Power Fire on this thing, going back out to our Rotom is probably going to be great. Ooh, he predicted that and goes for the Giga Drain, which kind of really does stink for us, because it forces us to Volt Switch here. And Volt Switch in a not so favorable position back out to our Hitmontop. Which we might be in. Wow, the luck is with our opponent today, as we are going to go ahead and lose this match. I'm going to just forfeit, because I'm not going to make you guys stick around for 3 more turns of us just sacking off Mons. But you know, that just kind of shows that, you know, even good teams can lose to some of the RNG that's present here. And we didn't spend a whole lot of time on the recaps. We just, you know, did some quick changing of things. But that's going to be it for us with this video. Make sure, you know, you guys like that video. We're going to have some more Showdown on here, and I promise I won't lose every time I'm on. But if you guys like that video, make sure you click like. Make sure you go check out Devo's channel. Link to it's going to be down in the description. Devo, anything you want to say to the people before we head out?
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to both of us. All right. Well, we'll see you guys later. It means a lot to both of us if you came out and watched the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. All those things are great. With all that being said, this is Palatown Smeargle and Deevo24 signing out.
Peace.